Good evening, everyone. So, sorry for the late start. I mean, we didn't stream last night. A few things happened, so we delayed it to tonight. And tonight, a few things decided not to work. So, got some different music in the background tonight. And, yeah, apparently LinkedIn didn't want to link my Twitter or my Twitch stream very well. And a few things just not working properly tonight, but that's okay. We should be able to get into things. So let's try and switch over and see what happens. No? Cool. That part's working. So, alrighty. Yep, so tonight we're continuing our API development. So we've got our space trucker company game thing that we're making. Game in the loosest terms here. So, but we've got our API and we've got our web front end. But tonight, what I want to do is a bit different. Is I'm going to actually use full weight Visual Studio. So normally we'd use Visual Studio Code for a lot of stuff, but I just feel like I want to go back, give full weight Visual Studio a bit of a shot. I haven't used it in a little while, and just see what the GitHub tools are like. So we've got all our copilots and stuff like that. So let me just go through all of my side projects. Here we are. This truck company. Now it's mostly going to complain because I haven't got a Visual Studio solution set up for this. So, which is one thing I do like about kind of working Visual Studio Code is you don't have to set up a solution, don't need a solution file, all that kind of stuff. So let's have a look, see if I can get it to just, yeah, it'll open there. Let's see what pops up in the Solution Explorer. Okay, Solution Explorer's there. We've selected a startup project, so this looks like it's working alright. We'll see how it goes as we get into things. See what IntelliSense says, things like that. Okay, I need to apparently authorize with Copilot. Because I haven't used Copilot on this one again just yet. So just giving that an authorization. So that should be all good. So yeah, we have Copilot installed as an extension, and we have GitHub Copilot chat here as well. So yeah, we'll just see how that goes. So yeah, what we do really any cloud stuff tonight is just going to be programming, which should be all good. So let's see. So I've got. Let me just check. I've got everything running. I've got our kind of SQL Server instance running behind the scenes. So we should just be able to actually just run the API here. Yep, that seems to be running. What we might do then is also open up a second instance of Visual Studio. And the reason we want to do that is we want to open this other project so that we can set that as the running project. Okay, I don't need that. Why does it sound like I've got two pieces of music playing? Sorry, give me a sec. Yes, apparently I have two pieces of music playing at the moment. I will have to figure out where the second one's coming from. So let's run this. Now, I think that's my Spotify has decided to kick in. Not that I can see it. Let me just. Yep, that's definitely my Spotify playlist. Not that I can see Spotify There we are. It's in the background process running 8 times. Just gonna end Spotify for a minute. Let's go back to the other music we're listening to. Every now and again, it's good for a change. So, there we go. Alrighty. So, we have a bit of an issue there. That's fine. Aha. That will be an issue because we have not set our... So in Visual Studio Code, we'd have our launch parameters, which would actually set what our launch ports are. So we don't have that set here. So, which is fine. Because yeah, we have these launch settings, but I don't think these launch settings are actually used by Visual Studio. They're only really used by Visual Studio Code. That's fine. That's fine. So that is the startup item. Can we do anything else there? Just trying to see if there's a better way for us to actually set any kind of startup parameters, apart from, again, having a solution in place, which I don't really want to build a solution. But the other thing we can do here is we can actually set this inside our config. So let's just good test for Copilot chat. Yeah. So trying to remember how I do that. So I'm pretty sure there's like a use URLs. There we go. Kestrel URLs. So we are running with Kestrel, which is effectively the web server that's part of this. So Kestrel. And we wanna. Yep, so that's. I don't want that. Sorry. So URLs. Interesting. It doesn't. So yeah, we can try that one, and let's see if that changes our port execution. It does not. So this is not the most efficient way of doing it. How else do we want to do this? Oh, hey, this. Sorry, it took me a while to see the chat. I was focusing on all the other things that are going on. So the Kestrel URLs doesn't actually do the function we want it to. What are some of the other alternative ways to set this port number? Okay. You see, this is something I'd like to see us have the option to do. Because yeah, we don't have a solution file, but I don't want the solution file. So, but I should still be able to say, hey, run this application with this specific port. So we've got Git stuff there, we've got repositories. So I wonder if it's maybe didn't work there. Oh, that's a bit loud. That's a little loud, thanks YouTube. There we go, it's better. Let's just try and copy this over in case I need it over here as well. Let's try to rerun that and see if it picks up. No, it does not pick up. This is a bit irritating. Let's see what the IntelliSense actually. Let's try that. So Copilot's kind of saying, hey, why don't we try using this endpoint? Rather than 5,000, we want to use 8. Was it a 5082? So, and again, we'll copy this over, make sure it's in both of our configs, and let's see if that's. There we go. That's the better way of doing it. Okay, cool. So the URLs one doesn't work anymore, so now we actively have to do the kind of endpoints there. This music keeps getting louder and louder. Just keep trying to push it to the background. Maybe this is why Spotify's better for background music. Okay, cool. Alright, so we've got that running, so then we want the other one to run on 094. So what we'll do is we'll copy and paste this config over here. Good. Now, the question is whether or not I'm giving it the right number or I'm actually setting the wrong number here. So there's a token generator. What I'm just checking here is on the. So actually, I called the API was 09. So the API was 94 there. So this one should be running as 8.2 and this one should be running as 9.4. Alrighty. So that one. I've just realized that might be text might be a little small. There we go. That should be better. So alrighty. So we'll just check a few things. Cool. All right. So now if I run the API, that's running on 9.4. That's great. And now if I run the website, that's running on. Paste 8.2. So we'll just copy that. Bring that down here. And we have the website kind of running. That's a bit funny going on with that, but well, error has occurred. What is? That's a bit weird, isn't it? Why is it doing that? Why is the Blazor application just decided not to work? Or is this, wait, is this because I had it as a Razor application and, oh no, it's Blazor. That's very odd. Let me just check. I'm going to go back to Visual Studio Code and I want to run that one via the command line. Oh, that's a different project. We're not doing that project. We are doing this project. Okay, for the tool terminal to kick up. Okay. Now if we go to this one, so writing the address, that's fine. We just go back here. That's interesting, isn't it? Why would running it out of Visual Studio over here not render the app correctly? Let's just stop that there. Should we set up? Why? This is very odd, but again, this could be down to the way that, in fact, I don't have that solution file in place. We should just be able to refresh. Because is it running it in a different way here? So that's very odd. Okay. Let's just quickly ask. So if we say, that's unable to run. And that's pretty much the same. Yeah. Very interesting. I think this is down to there being a problem with not having a solution file. I wonder, let's what's that? Let's see if we can add a solution. Okay, add a new item. No, I don't want. No, I don't want one of those. I want to. Yes. Well, let us add a new solution file. That's also not particularly useful. Let's export it to template. I don't want to do that. Yeah, that's not very. Add a project. No, I don't want to add a. Oh, okay. Here we want to add an empty. Make sure it's C#. I'm going to add an empty project. first things first, let's switch a branch. So that's the repository we're on main. We want to make a new branch, and we're going to call this VS 2022. Made some changes, bring them across, that's fine. Cool. So it's off doing its thing. And what we'll do here is we'll also, let's stop this one. So we'll only have one instance open, because it'll get confused if we have too many open. Alright, so we're all on the VS22 branch. So if we now say add a project, and then we want to go to, so we don't want an ASP, we want an empty solution, which I think was down at the bottom. That's an empty project. No, it's not what I'll do. Okay, how do we want to do this? I want to add the solution file. Okay, there's a .NET command for this. Alright, let's jump back over to Visual Studio Code for the moment. Let's actually try it this way. If we go .NET new, is this SLN new? Was that it? SLN, no, new SLN. Alright, so new solution. Okay. So there's a new solution there. Alright, so now if we try and open the solution, we'll say there is no projects. So we're going to add an existing project. No, not that one, this one. We'll add this project. Okay, that's better. And then we're going to add an existing project. I'm going to add this one. Alright, that's a bit better. Okay. So, interesting. It's kind of, I think it's now seen the startup, but I'm gonna configure the startups, and I want to do a multiple project startup, and we'll say start. And we can start both with debugging, so that's fine. Cool, so now if we run start, we get trust certificate, yep, that's fine. Trusted certificate, so we can run HTTPS, that's fine. Alright, so this should be running, and we should see, so that's, okay, so it was trying to override addresses, but we've overridden with that address. That's fine. And we've overridden that address. That's fine. Cool. So now if we go back and we reload, why? Because it's trying to redirect. If we don't want to do a HTTPS redirection, we want HTTP localhost, and is it just going to bounce us to? Alright, it's just going to bounce us because it will want to do HTTPS, and that will be down to use HTTPS redirection. Don't want to mess around with just yet. We will be doing HTTPS later, and I've already got a comment it out here, so that's fine. what are we doing here? It's doing project. Don't actually want. No, leave that alone. I don't want to delete it because that'll cause issues. But let's do the configuration. Debug. Yep. That should be fine. Let's try it again. So this time it's still complaining because it still looks like it's running. That. Okay, let's again. Don't want that. We want HTTP localhost 2. There we go. That's better. And then if we go to API test. Okay. Now, I don't think that has worked. So I should be getting some data back, shouldn't I? So let's go into our API. Our account controller. So let's get account. If we go back to our page, API test page. I thought we had moved on from this. Let me just check something. I thought we'd actually got a little bit further. No, I've only got to one branch. Okay, that's right. So it's trying to get the weather forecast. So if we try and get that, what happens when we try and hit it? That's going to say no. Why can't we get... We should still have our controller. That's interesting. Why can't we get... It's this roles admin. So we should be getting... Oh no, so we are getting a 401. We are getting a... So this is correct. That part is correct. So I think that's what's happening there. Now it's coming back to me. This is because I've had a week and a day off. Now if we do the login, so note self, have an error that pops up with 401s. Alright, cool. So yes, we've hit the page. We have data coming back here. So it's the temperature data, and then we have that actual data. So we have the actual data from the application. And here's our database commands that were run. Okay, good. Alright, let's bounce out of those. Cool. So let's do a little bit of cleanup. Let's get rid of the weather forecast controller because we don't want that anymore. Okay. So we just have our account controller. Just double check to make sure that we weren't adding, there was no service being added for the weather controller, which doesn't look like it. Do have a possible null reference. What we'll do is, it's interesting, it doesn't give me a null reference here and here, but it does give me a null reference here. That's really annoying. We got any, what are you suggesting? Add an argument name. Don't think that's gonna. Don't think that's gonna help me here. How could? Yeah. Tell me how to fix this. Copilot. Okay, so it's saying to grab. So you go for the configuration, but then you put an operator on the configuration, so it's operator. If it is null, this will be a good test. Does copying out of this copy just what I selected, or the entire thing? Good, just what I selected. So that's an improvement over. I don't think that there. There we go. So that's an improvement over the Visual Studio Code version. Is that if you were to do that on Visual Studio Code at the moment, it copies the entire text block. Which I'm sure something that'll get fixed. Alright, cool. So that gets rid of that warning. Good, good, good. Okay, so back to the solution. So we've got our get accounts. And we can kind of do the same thing here. We can say, so how do we want to do it? So it's a double question mark and then throw. So essentially that's in like an if null. Throw exception. And we say unable to find player information. Now that one's not going to help here because we have the issue where the user.identity might be null. So what we want to do is check and say there we go. So if the user identity is null, then throw an exception because we can't find any player information. And then if we can't return, so if that is correct but we still can't return it, then yeah, throw another exception there because we can't get that. And that's all good. Though, what we want to do here, first of all, we don't want to be doing this in the controller. We want actually to remove a lot of this logic out of the controller. So that's where we will start to define services. So let's go add new folder. It's called service. And then we'll go add. See, this is faster in VS Code. To be able to just go and add files and folders and all that stuff. So we're going to call this one account service. Alright. And this one likes to put things around, that's fine. I'm going to do a poly interface account. And then we're going to want to make sure that that one inherits the account service, that's good. Now, for the account service, what do we actually want to be doing? Let's stretch this out so we can split screen. Okay. So what we're doing here is we've got a database and we want to be able to get account information. So if we do a get account, so it's a public and it's a player get account, that's fine. And then we go to public account service, logger. Yep, we want that logger there, but we also now want actually, while we're doing this as well, I want to put in the repository pattern as well. Let's just call it repository for now. Repository. So what this is doing is this is creating a separation layer between our database and our application. So if I was to change the underlying database structure, I would only need to change the repository information, so how we're connecting to, things like that. I wouldn't then need to go and redo that in every service that might be calling the DB context directly. And then in here we will want to do effectively, I'm trying to think of best way to set this up to be pretty generic. So we get public logger, but then we also have private. Private read only DB context, and then we want the application DB context text. Add those two together, and then what do we want to do here? We want to because what I don't want to do is like just have to code every single possible entity here. But I'm mostly going to need to. Okay, so if we go, so we want public player, so get player by ID, and then is player ID a string? It is a string in this case. We get player by name, that's fine. We do create player, update player, delete player. And that's like a get all players. And then I want to do something like I want like a search player, and then we'll need some kind of search component here. We'll just call it string query at the moment. That's fine. Okay, and then I want to go to the repository there. And then let's just see if Copilot can help us expand all of these out. Cool, and we can do that for now. That's fine. And this is telling us of nulls. Exception. I'll just add that in. So if we don't get anything, we can get the null there. We handle null there. We so throw new exception. Fine. By ID. Okay. So that's fine. That's fine. Cool. So that's the repository will most likely get kind of large. So, but we'll just deal with that as we go. So cool. So we go back to our account service, and we should be able to have in here. Just thinking, actually, again, it's been a while since I've done a repository pattern. What we actually want to do is make this generic. And then we want this to be, yeah. Don't want to actually make this something that's tied to a single type. Okay, now I'm going to do string field. Search word for the moment. So generics time. I haven't played with generics in a while, but that's okay. Didn't want to do that. So we're going to use T here as well. Cool. So I just realized chat's covered up. Nope, no one's talking. That's all good. All right. So that's given a generic. Now doing like a get by name here, but that's maybe not helpful. That might be a search. And then we'll do a thing here. So we might actually remove the get by name. Then what we'll do is we'll just delete all this stuff. Again, we're doing that. Repository of type T. Okay. And let's see if Copilot can help us. Okay. Now it's giving me some problems here. It doesn't like context.setT. Let's see if Copilot can help me out of this one. All right. So it's telling me that I need to set the public interface where it says T class entity. And then so we need an entity interface. Okay, so this will give us a base for all of our models. So we're going to add a new item here, and we're going to call it entity, and then we're going to want just public string ID for the moment, and then we're going to say the player is an I entity. Now Anyway, I run some issues here with the name spacing, but that's helping me out. We don't want to use data, actually we want to use models. And the entity, what's the issue here? It's just complaining that if we would call a new one, it would have that as null. So that's alright, we resolved that by creating a new player like that. Alright, cool. So now here we want to go using system, it's fine, generics, it's fine. I don't think we actually need to do a link, but let's use API models. Okay, so that gives us our okay, so that should then resolve this. Now I wonder if, can I make this annullable? No, it's going to complain because it doesn't know if the entity we're asking for is nullable. That's right. We could do a throw. Find. And actually we want to here be a bit more specific, so we want to know what we're looking for. So you want t dot what do we want? We want to get the class name, but it's a generic, so how do I get that information? There we go, it's type of T. Okay, so this will tell us what the type is. So that should be fine. So we should be able to then use that when we can't find something. So guessing this list of one will just return an empty list. And then we need search. Okay. Now this is giving me all sorts of issues. Copilot, help me out here. Can you help me with these errors? Okay, what's it suggesting here? So it didn't set, but saying set a nullable type on P there. Property of field. So we're just adding nullable types to pretty much everything, but I don't think that actually resolves the issue. An object represents public. Okay, don't think that's actually resolving let's try and break this down a little. So, okay, well, no, let's break this down a little bit and figure out what it's doing. So we're saying where, so P and P is get type property field. Expression limit not contain a null propagating parameter. Okay, I think let's remove the nullables. We'll do a check before we get in here for a null. So we'll say and that's fine. Okay, let's maybe not do the, let's do the string one then. So is null or, because we want to be a bit stronger on that rather than just an is null. We also want to check for an empty string. That's fine. Okay, so we still have an issue with. No, so that's gonna hit there. Don't think. Okay, let's ask Copilot. So yeah, it's all these null checks. So it reckons add the null check in the property field. So the get property field. So we add null. Could be null, and this could be null. Now it's going to error because it doesn't want to do propagating nulls. Okay, so it doesn't. That's annoying. It doesn't want me to check for null, like check for nulls, but it's then giving me a warning saying it could be a null. Dereference of possible null reference. Okay. That's really annoying. How could I use the name of instead? Alright. Alright, so it's saying that use name of to replace the field parameter here. The property name. Okay, let's give this one a try. See if that's going to help us any better. Still have an issue here. What's the issue here? Still have an issue. See if I can get a refactor out of it. Maybe what I'm doing is not very optimal. And this one works, but this is going to be use this expression and a predicate. That seems a whole lot nicer. So we would be able to then determine a predicate for type T by building this expression. Okay. And then we would do a search in this way, because also at the time I think we do that research, that search, we would know what T is, because we would be doing that. Okay, so that's fine. That makes a lot more sense. So if we what's our pattern? I'll see if we choose that. There we go. Okay, there we go. That should be our generic repository pattern. Alrighty, so that's fine. So now we want to do our repository. I'm going to call it a player. I'm going to call that player repository. And then in here we're going to do a private read-only logger, repository, and we'll just get to kick off again. Bomb. And now if we want so now we don't have the user, so what we would need here, string let's say username. So we're going to get a count for username. And string this name here. So we don't do that. So we've got that. And now we'll be doing a search. So we go search. Okay, what are we getting? So that gives us our expression. Okay. And that should be our get account. Okay. Cool. So let's reduce this bit down. We don't need that so big. Now, I don't know why that's not migrations, models. That's why that's complaining. And so here, instead of having the DB context directly, we would have an I repository. No, we wouldn't have the repository at all either. We'd have the account service. Account service. Account service, and then we will get rid of that and have that. And in this case, then we would have, so we still want the so we have that there. Sure, we can log that. And we'll say username is null here. could actually update that to allow nulls. So that's fine, because if we're handling the null in here. Okay, so I guess the key thing here now is to test that out. Just thinking. Because we actually might want to return to, say, if so we don't actually need that there, but we do want to be checking, is there an identity associated with this user or not? Because if there's not, we don't want them to continue through that. Alright, well, let's give this a start up and let's see. Ooh. There was errors. Errors, that's fine, because we're okay. That should be all good. So now if we go back to our local host. Oops, not that one. This one. Alright, and we are still logged in. And we'll go to our API test. Alright, we have exceptions. Unable to resolve service type. Haha, I forgot a step. When you create service types or services and the repositories, you need to register them. Okay, so let's do context. Now, I think they're transients. Can never remember on this one actually. In the APIs, so we want inventory. Do we need to do T? Yeah. Or we don't need to include it at all. Do we need to do the repository T? How do I register that actually? As it doesn't like that. How do I register? Or do I register? I don't think I. Well, I do, because I need to register the R repository for that dependency injection. Check about it. How do I register the R repository with the dependency injection? Add transient type of repository. Okay, so does that work? So type of R repository and type of no, I don't. That seems a bit funny, but let's builder services. Seems happy enough with it. That'll be a test. I haven't seen that one before. This is also the cool thing. Sometimes you just find this stuff when you're doing things like this that you haven't seen before. Okay. And we'll add the... And we've got to add that in. Using... And... Okay. Let's see if that functions. Alright. On, and then we go to API test. And now we're unable to find player information because player is null. Search query string came back as the username. Player repository. So why is that null? Interesting. Why would that return us a null? So that's the create controller. That's fine. Unable to find player information. Alright. I'm going to continue. But okay, so we're trying to reload it. So let's step into this. So we have our predicate, our context. Context is connected to our database. So we should then get a return for that value. Don't see what that return is here, do we? That's returning me nothing. That's, yep, throwing that exception that it's hit nothing. Okay. Alright, let's simplify a bit. So I don't want to then... So I just want to simplify this to say, now, player.name, if we go... what we do want to check is, am I calling the correct field here? Is that field actually populated? Did I not save the password to this one? Docker. Yes, password did not match. Actually, do I have it inside the config because I'm not being very secure at the moment because I'm developing locally only? Yes, they're my secure password. That's fine. Again, once we get further through this, we will start doing much more secure things. Now the goal is to get things working, and then we will add that security in place. Alright, so we go in here, and we go to our players. Aha, So, the ID we're using is not a numerical ID. This is the problem when you only do it once per week. You forget things like that. But that's okay. Because all we need to do then is in here, instead of the p.name, it's p.id. Okay. So that should be running again. I don't know if... Okay, I don't know what happened there. That was still running, I think. Okay, so that should be all up and running. Should be able to hit that. Now this time we should be able to just F10 and then we get player information. Cool. Cool. Now I don't know, it does double thing, that's a Blazor thing. It's gonna hit the page twice. There is a way of fixing it, but that's front end stuff which we will look at later. So if we go to, so there it was, there we go. We've got our data coming through. So, and that's again coming through that repository pattern which we've set up here. So we do have a get by ID, but that's fine. We can still use the search. It's all good. Cool. Just checking a couple of things. So we've got the, we'll go back to the account service. So we have a get account. So we want to be able to do a, so we want to make an account. So to create an account, it should be fine. We'll do an update. So you might as well do all the kind of CRUD operations here. So that's fine. And then over in the controller, should be able to now do a post. And so create account. So now it doesn't like something with the wait, because I haven't done, need to do the interface before it will allow me to do these things. There we go, we've got the interface there, that's all good. I'll do an update account, which uses HTTP put, and the delete account. Now, the delete account, we should be checking. So the user can delete an account, but they should only be able to delete their own account. So it's either they delete the account or an admin can delete any account. Like an admin can do all of these, should be able to do all these things. Maybe what we'll do is we'll handle that in, no, if we handle that in the front end, then we'll have the situation of someone could theoretically call the API if they know what the API endpoint is, and then just randomly delete people's accounts, which we don't want. So what we'll actually do, we'll have two endpoints here, and we'll call it player delete. What we'll say is the player that is logged in is the same as that. Okay, cool. So that should do it. So that should say, okay, the player that's being deleted must have the same username as someone who's logged in. But now what we want to do so we'll name it admin delete account, and then we'll do the authorized roles, and this time we don't need to check. And I reckon we do the same here with the update account. Actually, I reckon we do the same with all of them. So we have one set for players, one set for admins. Anyone can create an account, that's fine. Okay, so and then we have the admin to get accounts, and then we add the check in. Rather than do that, we'll do private. We'll verify. Hey little CZ, how you going? User. Alright. So the identity needs to be the same as the player ID. And what we do here is that we want to verify. So we say if verify user. Oh, cool. Well, 56%. I mean, it's over 50%. But definitely, those practice exams are good for kind of checking that understanding. So you can always kind of go back, study a bit more, try again. So what's great about practice exams. Okay, so if the user is not verified, why are you complaining about it being null? So we don't need. Yeah, that's a good way of doing that. This is, yeah, get the kind of good understanding, deep understanding. Make sure you're also applying that understanding. So kind of do the practice exam, but then also do some side projects. Actually use the stuff, because that can help kind of really entrench that understanding as well. Okay. Look, the get player account should be fine. Cool. So get player account should be fine, because that's just going to get based off the ID. So I don't actually need to. Yeah, Udemy is a good one. So I've used Udemy for a couple of things. Again, I haven't done a whole heap of certs. I've kind of just used it to do some studying, so I knew what I was doing with some things. There's another one. Give me a sec. There's another one I used for some Kubernetes stuff that was really good. Code Cloud, I think it was. Sorry, let me just check for you. Because I had a subscription to them for a while, and I've kind of ceased that subscription at the moment. So, but I think it was, yeah, Code Cloud. So, if you have a look at, so not sponsored. Don't have any sponsorships, so that's fine. But have a look at Code Cloud. They're really good for stuff like Terraform and for Kube stuff. So if you've got an interest in that stuff, check them out. They've got some DevOpsy stuff there too. It is a subscription platform though, so you do have to pay. But it's not super expensive, and I reckon it's worth it even if you do a couple of months. And then, like what I've done, I did like 2 months and then I stopped, and that was fine. Cool. Alright. Don't actually need the admin. Yeah, the player gets stuff. So that's fine. So the admin is going to get a specific player, and that's fine. So create's fine. Player update. So this is one where we want to verify. Okay, fine. Put this little method in and Copilot's just ignoring it. That's fine. So we want to verify that the player is the same as the actual logged in user. Yeah, they've got a good amount of stuff there, and the course I did there was really well laid out. So I'm happy to kind of recommend it to people. So play delete, that's fine. Okay, cool. So that should give us all of those endpoints. And then you need the admin role to use the admin endpoints. Alrighty. So let's see, where are we up to next? So that's the basic ones. So what I think I want to do, so that's account stuff. Let's try and get into some different, let's get some models made. So let's call this one now my brain's leaving me. The account, so we've got the player information. Let's call it spaceship. So it was public spaceship, and these are going to be entity for as far as our database. So we'll have an ID, which will mostly assign a good or something. We'll figure out some way of doing it. It's not optimal with doing that. Yeah, I have set the string ID. That's fine. Figure that one out. And then we will do a. Now how do I want to do this? There are a number of ships there. We might do the reverse, where we're going to say player owner. And we'll do a public string location. Yeah, we'll do a fuel, do a cargo, do max fuel, max cargo. That's fine. And then a speed. Yep. We'll do a price, but we won't do that as a int. We will do that as a double, because we want that kind of precision. That's fine. And then we'll have a like string size. I'm just thinking here. So what thought process is here. So ships have fuel and cargo. Now the cargo will also need like a list to. So we need a list of items that are actually in the cargo, but it helps to have a general counter that just helps roll it up. That should be fine. Okay, let's make a constructor for this spaceship. Doesn't like. Well, I don't want. We'll set that to be null because we're going to mostly store. Well, no, this is going to be a spaceship entry, so actually it should have an owner, and again we will base this information off of a list of known spaceships. That's fine. So we go player owner. So when we create a new instance of a ship, it'll be based off. Well, that'll be actually, we won't store that in database. We'll store that in like static data for now. But I guess we can store it in the database in case we want to dynamically add to it later. And I'm fine with the good thing there. That's fine. Okay. I mean that. I know this is going to be a performance hit, and definitely something we'll refactor out later. Okay. So that's fine. So while we're doing that, so let's now do item, and we will call this a cargo item. Do you know, let's call it a trade item. So, and we're going to give it an entity. So again, these will be yeah, no, I'm just thinking I'm doing this the wrong way. Doing that the wrong way. We will be assigning, so we'll be having the ships defined, but then we'll be assigning ships to players. How do I want to do that? Because each ship does need to be. That's fine. So each ship does need to be an individual link. But that's fine. So what we're going to do in here is we'll have a public list spaceship ships. And we can make that there. Okay, cool. That should be fine. And the trader items here. String ID. Sell price and a buy price. And if we won't do a sell, we'll do a volume. Oh, I spell. Yeah, whatever. It'll do for now. So have an ID, a name, a base price, a quantity, a sell price, a buy price. That's fine. what we might do also is do a public string. We won't do it that way. Category. Gotcha. We'll figure out categories later. That's fine. Don't need that there. There we go. That's fine. So that does that. Should initialize that list to be empty. Okay. Cool. So that's that. That's the player. The player has a spaceship, and that spaceship has trade items. Alright, let's stick with that for the moment. Let's go and add them into our database. So that should be fine there. Repository. Just noticed I've got player all the way through here. Let's rename that to entity. I want to rename all of them. Again, something Visual Studio does, the code does really well. I could do like a find all, replace all, but that's not what I want to be doing. Making this clearer that not players, the entities, because it's a generic. Okay. So that's the account. So what we'll do now is we'll make a couple more services. And we'll call this a ship service. New item, and we'll call this one trade item service. Okay. Interface spaceship service. Okay, and then we'll need to do our using models and data. Okay, we'll pop that across to this one as well, and again we'll also do a public interface here. Alright, we can do an add, we can do a remove, we can do an update, and we can get ship by SID, so that's fine. Here we'll also do the same. Now here we also need to do a trade item to ship. And then okay, we'll do bump. That's fine. We need to come over to the account service. Yep, because we're interacting with the player database in here, so we want to do this in here. And we want to do a public void ship to account, and then remove ship from account. That's fine. Just realize that none of these are set as publics. It's going to cause all sorts of trouble. Don't know why it didn't do that for me, Copilot, but there we go. Okay. So we go back to the account. And we'll let alright, that should be fine. Okay. So in the logger, and then the repository, and then we get that going, and now we just have Copilot generate all of the contents for us. Oops, don't do that. Okay. Now, ship does not contain. Yeah, let's call this trade. Just to keep the thing. So, still have the cargo. That's fine. But that'll just make that better. So that should be all that. And then do private read only logger repository. Boom. And now we should just be able to implement all of those. Okay. Cool. I've just realized something with that. The way that we're doing that. We have a list of trade items in the ship, but we want a list and a count. So what we actually want here is we don't want a list. We want like a map. Like I had, just do a map. Might need to use collections. Is it map we want, or do we want? No, we want dictionary. Dictionary of trade item, and then int called trade items, because then this is going to give us the ability to say this trade item with this amount of it. That becomes a new dictionary. Okay, and then we come over here, and does that change? It does. So let's get rid of these. Now let's Copilot to try that again. No, it still thinks. I know why it does that. And we're going to have an amount, because we haven't given any further context to what we're doing here. Alright, so bump. We don't want a new. Okay, it's having some trouble with this one. So we want to add should just be able to do an add like that, shouldn't we? Yeah, it's the key in the value. So I don't know why it was overcomplicating it. Now, okay, and we want now we're gonna do the logic here a little different, and so we've got to say ship. We do a check to make sure they're not equal to the amount of the ship, because we can remove all of it. Okay. No, you didn't do what I asked. It's fine. Okay. Right, we'll do it that way then, fine. So if there's going to be some left over, that's fine, and if there's not, then remove the item from the ship entirely. Cool. We'll actually change this. Change these to bools. Because I need to do some more logic on this as well. Okay. So, effectively, if it doesn't contain the item, then throw an exception. We didn't find the item, that's fine. If the amount is less than check if check if the amount is less than. Oh no, that's fine. So if the amount coming in is greater than the amount that's in there, throw an exception. Okay. Okay. So then we say, oh no, we don't want an else. Boop, boop, boop. What are we doing here? So make sure that the item is in the ship. Make sure that it's not more than is in the ship. So then we will move the items. If straight on is 0, move item, that's fine. And then update the ship. Okay. So that should be fine for remove. For add, need to check if space. Volume, amount. Okay, we won't do the money thing just yet, because we'll do the money thing in a different part. This is purely, so if there's enough space, then that's fine. And then we can add the items and then, alright. And we need to update the cargo space. So I think it's minus. I don't know why it gave me a minus there. What do we say? I don't want. So it's. Adding, so we figured out how much cargo space is required, and now we're adding that to the ship cargo. And here we actually need to I'm not doing it that way because that fuel max cargo. Okay. Cargo space available. So check, is the cargo space available enough to fit in that, and we can also do this as equals because we want, if it's exact, that's fine. So I think that's the wrong one. I think I want that is greater than or equal to the space required, and that's fun. Add space required. So that gets updated. Okay. I'm just gonna check here. Alright, no. Throwing the exception, so I'm checking the negative case here, not the positive case. Gotta remember that. Okay, so that should be that, and then so true. So which will let us know effectively if we get to that point, then we have successfully done the things. If not, then an exception will be thrown. we'll throw an exception there. We won't handle it in here, we'll handle it above so that nothing gets updated. Okay, so that should be fine for both of those. So the trade items, that's fine, that's that. These are the entities, and then the player, cool, and then repository's fine. In the account service, we add ship to account, move ship from account, that's fine. Spaceship service, we have those things. And then we'll add, we already got it there. And that's adding the trade items in. Okay, so now let's go and register. Services. Spaceship service. Now, why are we having a problem with those? Did I forget? I did. It helps if you add the interface to the class. Doop doop doop. Alrighty, and back to program, and that should resolve that. Okay. Now we need to update the database. How do I want to do this? Because I don't. There is a terminal for Visual Studio, but I don't like it. I'm not been a fan of the terminal. So we go command line, and then you go developer PowerShell. It's alright. We can try this one and see how it goes. Space company API. Alright, so if we do dot, it's not dot net, we need what is the command I'm looking for is it's .NET EF database. No, we want migration. And items. Alright, so let's try and build and whoop. Alright, so it's giving us some errors. So it's saying undetermined relationship represented by the navigation of, so it doesn't like the dictionary. Okay, that's fine. So let's ask Copilot. Property. Alright, let's see if Copilot can help me here with fixing that specific issue. So the issue is that we have this dictionary here, and Entity Framework doesn't know how to deal with that. Okay, so it's saying to, so we want to use a non-mapped don't think that actually solves. Yeah, don't think that actually solves it. So what we might have to do is we might need effectively a class in here which represents trade items linked to ships. So we have the trade items themselves and the ships themselves. So if we do it that way, where we have a list of all the items, yeah, we might have to do it that way. So that's alright, that's okay, we can do that. And so what we'll do is we'll go add a new file. We'll call this trade item entry. So we're going to call these entries. And then what they are is they are a, so again they're an entity, and then they have a public string ID. It's fine. And they have a trade item. Quantity, and then they will have a trying to think how I want to map this. So trade items will belong to a ship. But again, we're mostly going to run the same idea here. We're going to do the same thing with the spaceship. So that's fine. So, because we will want to have, because this will be a mapping again from is this what I want? This player is the owner of the spaceship, that's fine. Do we do that with the... Alright. Okay. I'm going to call this owner. That's fine. Okay, so we're changing this up a bit so that we've got the spaceships here are not going to implement the add and remove trade items. They're just going to be the actual raw thing itself. Okay. I'm going to change this. We're going to add in the other repository here. We're going to keep all this in the one service. Okay. I'm going to do that there, and then we'll say I should pursue that. Okay. So what we're doing there is we're adding and removing from spaceship. Add entry. Okay. I wonder if the entry thing is something I can make a bit more generic. Because we're going to use that for other things. Things that are owned. Let's leave it at the moment. If it gets out of hand, and we will go back and fix it. Okay. Okay, and the entry itself is where we're storing. That's a trade item. I want a spaceship one. This is where we're storing the things. So this one is dot, and then it's cargo space, minus the ship dot used cargo space. Cargo. Right, it's still. Oh no, so it's going to create. Because it's going to be a trade item entry. That's fine. And we don't have an amount because the entry itself contains the amount. Get the volume from that. And then we update that, and then in the repository we don't use the ship repository here, we use the entry repository. There we go. That should work. So let's again do delete this. Do the trade item entry here. So we don't need to check for space because we are check trade. Okay. Right. To make sure that that trade item entry actually is in the ship. Make sure that what we are removing makes sense. If I don't. No, I don't think Copilot, you're not quite getting it, so we're going to so that's where we're trying to remove too many of the things, and it'll throw an exception. And then we're going to remove nope, that's not what we want, so we're going to do a okay. No, don't want to do that. Alright. Let's just say so we get the item from there. Quantity. I mean, don't think. Well, we'll do it there anyway, just in case. In case what it finds is null. Okay, so quality is that, then that's fine. Then return true. Oops, sorry, I return true. That's alright. Cool. Alright, that should do that. Let's go and fix tree here. Leave there, that's fine. So we actually need to do the other parts here, which is the basic CRUD operations for entries in general. Okay, so that's fine. Cool. And just realizing we don't need the int amount here. That doesn't make any sense, because that amount is kept within the entry we're bringing in here. It's fine. Okay. Alrighty, that should be that, that should be that. And now I need to go into the database one and add all of those into do that one there, so let's set that. Just add in that there. Okay. I need to go and add do all these. Okay. Come on. No. Hello, Copilot. You were working so well a minute ago, and now you have stopped. Have I typoed something? Private repository item entry. Not to call it entry repository. 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 Okay, and then we do that. Good. And then now we come back down here and see if Copilot will help us now. Come on, Copilot. Alright. We'll use Visual Studio to implement signatures. Okay, and now can Copilot Copilot figured out that no, we don't want that. Oops, that. What do I do? Alright, that matches what we got there. Cool. Alright, so that should then... So we should be able to now redo this as a list of trade entries. Okay. And we actually want to have this one be a list of spaceship entry. Okay, just to give that. Now just thinking. Yeah, that's fine, because we need to provide the spaceship entry, which will have the ship ID in it anyway, so that's fine. Okay. Let's just build this to make sure we don't have any... No, we do have some errors. there, and that's going to, of course, give us a problem. That's fine. Okay. That's fine. So now build that. Did we have any warnings? We do have some warnings. And that's just because we're missing the constructor there. Alright, cool. So now we rebuild. Yep, all good. That's all built. So now we should be able to do this. We shouldn't have that same issue. So that's fine. So now we should be able to do a .NET EF database update. And this should apply that migration. Cool. And then if we go over here, we refresh those tables. Now we have those tables added in. So now we have the ability to make spaceships, trade items, and then also store the entries for a spaceship entry, which is linking a instance of a spaceship to a player, and then trade item entries as well as linking an instance of the trade items to the players as well. So table size wise, we expect that the entry tables will be the ones that grow pretty substantially, and that's where the IDs are going to start to become a problem, as I haven't used int on these IDs, which is not great. So definitely going to start. That'll be something I'm going to leave it, because I want to show how that starts to affect performance as we go on. And then we can do like a refactor of shifting those IDs to being actual IDs. We'll have to update the player table as well, so that its ID is not the kind of login email, but actually have that as an email field and then an ID. But I'll leave it for the moment so that I can show why it's a problem later on. Okay, so we've got that. That's all good. What I kind of want to do is set up a controller for... I want to add some spaceships to the database and then be able to have the player buy a spaceship effectively and add it to their list of ships. So let's go and we'll add a new controller, use the scaffolding for that. We'll just add a controller. Oh, no, I don't want to do that one. I want to do an API controller. I'm not going to use NC framework. And we're going to call this one a spaceship controller. Cool. Alright. So it's API controller. You're going to need also. Let's go and grab. Oh, so we don't need data anymore. Go and grab these. Like that. We'll make authorize, and then we'll use roles. So minimum role you require as user to be able to even get to this, that's fine. And then we'll add the extra required roles as we go on. Logger, that's fine. Spaceship service. We want that to be like that. And we go public spaceship controller. Okay. So then we're going to do hp get equal. Just gonna go get spaceships. Cool. Do I not have a... Aha, I should do that. Should have a get ships. I should also have a should have that too. Alright. Where are we going to stick? So after update ship, is it directly? I'll have to get ship. Alright, so we want to keep them kind of in order. List get ships. Just want to do that effectively. Just returning the list of all those ships. Alright, cool. That's fine. Now this one will do, so it's above the add the trade item stuff. Is that what I called it? Okay, entries for player. I think. Okay. How did I link that? Do it that way. Okay, that should be fine. Doesn't change any of the underlying structure for the database, so we don't need to change the database stuff. Cool. So back to the controller. Do get ships. That's cool. Alrighty. So that gets us our list of ships, and then we'll HTTP host name equals add ship. And authorize role for admin on this particular one. Ship.id. What's going on? Because it wants us to, when we add a ship, it doesn't actually want it to be void. Actually, yes, it makes sense to return. We just do a return, yeah. Should do that to. Not everything, but we'll do it for that one. So that's fine. There we go. HP put. Okay. This is yeah. Makes sense. Turn me the updated ship. Easy enough fix. There we go. Alright, back to the controller. And oops, not attribute. Authorized for admin only. And we delete the ship. Let's remove ship anyway. That's fine. Okay, so that's basic CRUD operations there. Now we want to. What do we want to do here further? Do post. Get ships for player. Now, again, we don't actually. So in this case, we do want to include the count. Because we wanted them to call the endpoint without providing a player ID and have it based on their auth to see what they get. So again, stopping that, show me the list of this player's ships when I'm not this player. Okay. So we still need some kind of the account service here. There we go, and get entries. So we call it get entries for player. Doesn't like the enumeral, so we'll give it the list. Oops. What? Right, so we go back to enumeral. That's entry. So the spaceship entries for the player. Okay. Sure, let's add one which is by ship. Okay. And then that makes sense to have a service in. Now we don't want it to be an entry, we want it to actually be the spaceship itself. Collect ship. Okay. And the ship service will create Okay. Tree. Buy ship. Player. Spaceship ship. Okay. Okay. That's fine. The player doesn't need, so. Owners, type of ship's that, and then it's use cargo space is 0, and the cargo space is equal to the max. Okay, cool. So that should be fine. Should really put that. Should really do the. Oh no, we'll do it last. Okay, fine. Why does player have credits? I'm gonna have to fix that. Okay. It's a database change. That's right. That should be fairly simple. It may complain it doesn't say that it's changing a type, but that's right. Let me add the ship to the player. Update the player. It's up into. We need the account service. And we'll need the account service here so we can update the player. So we will need to update that player. Okay. Alright, that should do what we need it to do. Let's build. Alright, we'll have to go and do see if that'll let me do that. No, it should be fine. I want you to apply it. Can you apply it? Or do I need to tell you to force do it? Apply migration. So let's go double check. Let's make sure. If we look at the players, we go look at the columns. Credits are afloat. That's fine for the moment. Okay. So that gives us the buy ship. Then we go back to controller here. We have buy ship, and we have the ability to do the buy ship, and then that will return the ship entry, and that should be fine. Cool. Alrighty. I'm feeling my music is. Oh no, it's still kicking along in the background. It's just nice and soft. Almost too soft. Alrighty. I think we're good for the moment. I think let's commit. It's a lot for a single commit. Really, I should have been committing as I going, but I kind of got in the flow there a bit and forgot to commit. So that's what we'll do. The commit now. Alright. So let's commit all that. Right, and let's push. Alright, cool. We won't make a pull request just yet because there's one more thing I want to do, which is to create the controller for the trade items. Okay. So again, we'll steal this using block here. And else. We'll go for our users again. Okay, and we want the trade service. We also want the ship service. There we go. All right. You're gonna help me out here. No, it doesn't like something. Oh, compile it. There we go. All right. Alright, so we can get a basic list of all the trade items. And now it's going to tell me I don't have get trade items. I don't. Items. Let me just get into return. Sure. Don't know what's better actually. Doing this where it's just making sure that return everything that's true to a list, or returning it the other way. We should test that. Should go on our list of things to test. Alright. So now we're gonna go post add trade item. Oop. I'm missing that. Alright. And we want to auth admin. And it's going to give us the same problem we did for the others because we have voids on these. Because we didn't think that through, but that's right. We now know what that's going to do for us. And that's fine because then we just add the returns. Fix that up nice and quick. Trade on here. Should fix that. Okay, that should be that. Trade item. Yeah, if I put in trade item there. Cool. Alrighty. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, that's right. I'll ignore that little thing for the moment. And actually, I didn't put the authorize on this one. Needs to be admin to do that. Okay. No, get trade. No, we don't need to get the trade items for the ship. I don't think. But we do need to get trade entries. We can do it this way. And such it's entry. And we'll get entries for ship. So we shouldn't need to do that. We should have all of the basic information there when we call it. So we should just be able to do this basic CRUD for does that not? We don't want it. We'll just want one. That should be fine. Alright, cool. Actually, do we need? I don't think we need this because we're only modifying that stuff through the ship. There's a buy ship there, so maybe what we need here is alright. What are we doing here? Okay, so we want to have a trade entry as our return, and we want that. So let's try that again, Copilot. That was my bad. Okay. So let's put in the account service, 'cause it makes sense that it wants that. Okay. No, actually, I don't want the players there. We want the ship entry. Provide me with the ship. To supply me with the ship that's going to do the purchase. I don't want the player actually here at all. It doesn't need to be here because the context of purchasing the item is from the ship, not the player. So let's try that again. Okay. Cool. Now just give me a sec. Just go duck away from it. I will be right back. And we're back. Alrighty. Well, almost 11, so alright. So we don't want this going from the spaceship service, we want this from the item trade service. click. Okay. I can't type now. Okay, so we don't get the price. I see an issue there. The trade item entry has an issue. If we go to our models. Aha. So I'm gonna have to that's fine. Alright. We don't want mostly should have date and stuff like that. Also need int amount as well for this one. Just saying an amount of a trade item. So okay. Now again, this is maybe something I'll refactor later, where the trade item can have a different value depending on where it is. But what we might do there is actually use the entity again, or the entry, to have each place you buy be you buying from their entries. Actually, no, let's do that. That makes sense. So it's actually from one entry to another. Okay. And then what we should do is update the trade item entry again to have a and sell price. Okay, so that should be fine. So update. We'll get to that part. Update across the station. That makes sense, but put that as a to-do. So create the entry. And items to ship. at the entry to the ship. Actually, before we do all the credit stuff, we should work out this is the amount times volume. Okay, so there's enough cargo space, debit off credits, so remove credits. Make sure that we populate the entry first, then remove the credits from the station, and then hold. That, so that's adding to the, and then we also want cargo to add. And we update the ship, and that's the wrong repository. We have the ship service in here, didn't we? No, we'll need the ship service. Oh, don't do that. Follow. Follow the pattern I'm putting in. So what I called it, spaceship service. Thank you. Ship. Entry, it's fine. Okay, so that should be good. So, because we created the repository entry, we updated the ship so it has its details. Alright, that should be fine. It's gonna simplify that, that's all good. Now up here it's going to be grumpy. Why? This is the trade item entry. Alright, that should be good. Let's again, we have to update tree. Build errors. Where is there a build error? Because we want this to be an inch. And then we also need the amount. Build that. Done. Try this again. Okay, and then we'll update the database. Ah, cool. Cool. Alrighty. You complain that you don't actually get used. Because you don't. At least not here. So let's remove you because, again, it doesn't make sense to have you inside there. Because you're inside the logic, you're not in the controller. Alrighty. Let me add the trade item controller. Okay, cool. So I think that's a good spot to leave it tonight. We've done a fair bit. We've made a couple of the controllers. We've switched over to using Visual Studio full weight, which has shown us a few things. So it's good that the GitHub tooling is also working in here as well, with both chat and Copilot, which is really nice. Cool. Alrighty, so we'll mostly pick this up again next week. What I will do is I'm going to merge this into the main branch, and I'm just going to grab that PR, bring it over here. Alright, so able to merge, and then we can say merging week to work into main. Create that pull request. Check to make sure everything's good. There's no conflicts. There's no CI/CD yet, but that's fine. So let's merge that pull request, and we can delete that branch. That's good. We'll switch over to make sure we're checking out the main branch. And then we'll make sure we pull the main branch, and we'll have to open that and then reopen. There we go. Cool. Alrighty, so we are doing well here. So a lot of code in that in those commits, but that's all good. Alright, so I'm still ongoing with this one, but that's alright. Doing our first stages now. So update VS2, so that should be all good. Yep, so we'll plan to pick this up again Monday next week, and we'll mostly put some admin UI in place just so we can start adding some items here and there and testing out some of these controllers we put in. But then we'll also further expand the controllers, start working on trying to define out how trading's going to work and base stations, all that. I think that'll be the focus for next week, and then the week after we'll mostly start our back-end process setup where we're actually going to have the server running and doing things in periodic time. So we'll have like a server tick, and then that tick will happen whatever time period we set, and then whenever it processes a tick, it'll process a whole heap of different things, such as ships moving around, items being stocked, and things like that. All that kind of component of the game can be tracked from there. Cool. Alright, well, I hope everyone has a great week, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.